one of the ways to generate neurotransmitter is sprinting, also explosive movements, movements with precision. So what happens is the wiring up occurs when the body gets the signal that whatever this activity is very important. And that's why explosive and precision. So sprinting works, right? Sprinting is explosive, and it does require some precision because there's timing. Every one of those steps you have to be timed right or you're gonna fall. I like these bands because these bands you can do different things. So for example, if I came over and did this exercise, right? It's basically a standing press exercise, but what I could do is I could put the resistance band on there and do the same exercise, and I add some resistance. So why would I want to do that? Well, one, I don't want to do 30, 40 reps. That's not my deal. Two is that what I'm really interested in, I'm not building muscle fiber, I'm activating neural pathways. So the more I can activate neural pathways, the more I'm going to drive neurotransmitters. See, here's another. I just grabbed an apparatus, I grabbed my resistance band, and now I'm doing basically a bench press exercise with the resistance band. Now, the resistance bands come in different strengths, of course, and you can carry a few. So take a stroll through the park, find an apparatus, a tree. You can grab a tree. You can do a row. Now, I'm not a fitness instructor. I'm not a physical therapist, so form-wise, I'm sure there's some coaching I could get. This is more about firing up your system so you can maximize your potential, the access to your potential. Then you could do slow reps, slow negatives. Slow negatives are really good because it fires the neural pathways along the whole range of moving, right? So that's good. You can also do it from here. Now I'm doing again, a sort of a press exercise. You can do shoulder exercises with it. So there's different ways you can play with it. You can do it while you're walking. I can do tricep presses. Now this is not about doing exercises. This is about firing neural pathways, and not just about firing neural pathways. What I want to do is maximize the amount of neurotransmitter in my system. The beauty of it is that I don't need recovery in between. I can do different exercises. I can do some footwork exercises, right? And this is creating neurotransmitter, not that much, but because of the precision, and I'm firing neural pathways that are not often used. Now I have the neurons, and they're wrapped with myelin to do this, but it's the neurotransmitter that is getting activated, the wiring up phase. There's two parts of what makes a neural pathway powerful. Now when I say powerful, it fires with accuracy, and it takes accuracy to perform, and it fires with strength and consistency. So if you watch a basketball player who's at the top of their game, they would have a lot of myelin wrapping their neurons. They also have the synaptogenesis. So the myelin wraps the neurons. When the neurons get wrapped with myelin, and you can read about this in The Talent Code by Dan Coyle and also Grit by Angela Duckworth. These are the books that got me started years ago, but they build on each other. And deep practice is how you build more myelin. And myelin is all about accuracy of the neurons firing. Now keep in mind, we have 100 billion neurons, and one neural pathway just to make a step could be thousands of neurons long. Now, if each of those neurons have to fire fairly accurately, if they fire within plus or minus 4 milliseconds, my understanding is you get a pretty decent outcome. But you start getting outside of 4 milliseconds, you're going late or early, that's the timing. And if you've ever stepped off a step and stumbled or something like that, it's very possible that you had some neurons not firing. And if you don't use these movements, the neural pathways are dormant. It makes perfect sense. If you've done any sports, like you know how to do push-ups, so you have neurons that are already wrapped with myelin for the push-up neural pathways. But the neural pathways are dormant because you haven't been using them. That's why it's more about, what's more important is the activation of the neural pathways, to focus on that, and you're going to get the results. One of the things that keeps us going back to the gym is that we make improvements, but as we get over 50, 60 years old, those improvements are coming slow, and because there's no dopamine help, there's no anticipation of the reward, and that's where the dopamine comes in. It's the anticipation of the reward. So without the anticipation of the reward, we have no desire to go to the gym. When you start focusing on neural pathways, because you can do them every day without recovery, you can start seeing benefits right away. So here's another exercise that you can do with the bands. You can do lat pull downs, slow negative. You can use stronger bands. You can do one arm. So those are just some quick things you can do with bands. And the reason I'm doing it this way, like strolling through the park, it changes the game when you start thinking about it, not from a standpoint of building muscle, but from the standpoint of activating neural pathways. Because I don't need the recovery. So every day I can do a different kind of exercise to activate a different neural pathway, and whether it's in my legs or my arms, by activating neural pathways, I'm demanding more neurotransmitter. My body's putting the neurotransmitter out there, and remember, the neurotransmitter is how we grow and produce hormone, growth hormone, and testosterone / estrogen, and there's some other things as well.